Today we are riding with this company called Patty Wagon Tours. Shish and I were very curious to see the southern part of Ireland, so today we're heading down to another city called Cork, and from there we'll be visiting a castle called Blarney Castle. So that's the tour we signed up for. It's a very Irish green bus, and Shish and I managed to snag the very front two seats just behind the reserved seating area. So hopefully we get to see more of the road as we travel along. This tour starting at around 8 in the morning, but as you can see, the sun's still coming out.
We got Wi-Fi.
You can sit there and talk. Morning! Okay, so my name is Jerry. I'm going to be your driver guide for today. The Millennium Spire, that big metal object sitting up there. That is the Millennium Spire, as I said. It was just be erected for the year 2000. The Millennium. We are following the edge of the towers. So the Irish support each class. We'll be in the road. The name of the Rock of Cashel, well, some people will call her a castle. Well, yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Wow.
So we have just stopped at the first point on our tour today. This is called the Rock of Cashel. It's one of the oldest cathedrals in the country, dating back to the 13th century. It's actually a very big one. Until the 15th century, it was supposedly actually still in use. But then as the British continued to rule and govern Ireland, and the division between the Catholics and the Protestants continued to grow, it began to fall apart from no longer being in use. And by the late 1800s, most of this, like the roof, was partially collapsing. And I think there was a specific instance of a big storm when everything just came apart. So after that, it's just been in this condition ever since. But once Ireland gained its independence, this monument was actually considered as something of national importance and then preserved as it is today.
This is an Irish cross to represent Christianity. It is quite different from the regular ones we have seen, which usually just has the plus mark. This one has a circle around it. Long back, a devil threw a big stone on Saint Patrick. Saint Patrick was one of the prominent saints in Irish Catholic Christianity. When he saw that the stone was coming towards him, he just ducked, and then the stone went and fell on the ground. And that is how this whole mount came to be. If you see, all around this is just flat land, and it's only this small mount here, and that is why they built a church on top of the mount. And this is what it is.
Coming from India, we never really think about religious infighting amongst people in the West. But the history that we have learned here in Ireland, especially when it comes to the whole Catholics versus Protestants thing, really has opened up a whole new perspective around our thoughts on this.
After seeing so many castles in Ireland, we have observed one thing, that the windows are so narrow. I think the main purpose is that nobody from outside can see what's happening inside, but from inside you have a clear view of everything which is happening out. It's easy.
I'll get into the history of this beautiful little country of ours. The yard has a church attached to it. The cemetery does not.
The bus just dropped us off here in Cork, and we've now made it to the second biggest city in Ireland. So after Dublin, Cork is said to be the next biggest city. And there's another big city which is called Limerick, which we saw on our way to Cliffs of Moher the other day. This one is in the very south of the country. We're just really curious to see it. So that's why we signed up for this tour.
And also while riding the bus during the entire time, the guide was telling us about the history of Ireland. He started from the early 1300s and told us all the major events which happened until 2016.
Yeah, until Brexit, in fact. So in short, we learned that there's a lot of violent history here in Ireland, mostly because Ireland was a colony up until 1922 when they got their independence. And much like India, Ireland went through a famine. A majority of the population actually got wiped out, either by way of death due to hunger or because they all moved out from here and fled to America and other parts of the world. Our PaddyWagon guide told us that more than the country of Ireland, more than on the island of Ireland itself, Irish exist in larger numbers outside. It's one of those few communities in the world where the diaspora is bigger than their homeland. So apparently there's more than 35 million Irish descent people up there in the US and also in other parts of the world. But in Ireland, it's only around 7 or between 7 and 8 million, which is pretty crazy. By Irish standards, we have excellent weather today.
Because it's 11 degrees and it's not windy.
I'll get you one more.
We just got the lunch. It's falafel kebab. They actually serve it with naan and some salads on the side. I like how they've decorated it. It looks like a small pizza with fries on top.
Just had a quick lunch at the falafel store. It was not too bad, but it was a bit expensive. About 14 euros for one plate. I guess we are in the tourist zone of the city, so there was no real option as such. But now, after this short stop in Cork, they're going to take us to a place called Blarney Castle,
which is the main attraction for the day.
So right now we're about a kilometer away from where the bus had dropped us off. So now we're going to walk back. It would have definitely been nice if we could spend probably a full day in Cork. But I think having been to the Old Town city centre, it was at least a good short impression of the city.
Yeah. Hi, Nami. Hello, Nami. I still can't get over how cute the logo of this company is. They even have a small PaddyWagon man just stuck in the front part of the bus. It's like a soft toy.
I think we just realized that if we had just ordered food on the bus, they were recommending a restaurant where they dropped everyone off. It was supposed to be a very nice Irish menu. They even had vegetarian food. But we decided to go into town looking for something better and then ended up paying a lot more than what was on that
menu. We lost more time doing this. Instead, we could have just roamed around Cork.
I guess you shouldn't be as suspicious of tour guides as, sometimes you think you should be.
The English market. Yeah.
Oh.
You're right. So when he came back to the castle, then he got the boys out of the castle to come out to lift the stone up to where it's situated today on top of it.
For 15.
19. Hi guys.
Hi.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Now the castle is up.
Thank you.
Left here and upper over to your left hand side.
Thank you.
Don't forget to see the gardens at the back of the castle. 425. Thank you. Cheers. Yeah.
We just got the tickets to go and see the Blarney Castle, and we've got 2 hours to explore.
a pretty grand looking tree.
It's quite a large area.
You know what's really fascinating is that this river right here is actually a river that's flowing on top of another river, which is basically going entirely underneath the first one. Right here.
How is that even possible?
They built one river's flow over the other. It's not natural, it's man-made, but they did that because there are different volumes of water in both the rivers and they didn't want one affecting the other flowing in certain directions. So they built a canal that goes under this one. So cool.
Let's try to get a picture through this. Oh, look at that! I see a castle in the far. Finally inside the castle.
You have to now go up about 4 or 5 floors up to the Blarney Stone.
That's a lavatory. People would go in there and move. Careful, careful. So tiny.
This is so narrow. Alright, we made it to the top. Finally made it to the top. And that right there is the Blarney Stone.
Careful. Now I'm going to be eloquent. Thank you so much.
So there are a number of different stories around the legend of the Blarney Stone, but the one that we heard from our Patty Wagon tour guide was the most fun one. Apparently there was this man who had a court case to attend. He was part of the family that I think owned this castle, and he knew about the powers of this stone from legends from before. Apparently a witch had granted the earl of this area, of this castle, a stone which was already in the wall of this castle that had magical properties. Apparently it was right here. So this man came here. He had a court case to attend and he was very worried that he would lose. But then something in his dream prompted him to come here. He ended up kissing the stone and then he went on to the court. Suddenly he was so eloquent in how he was arguing in the case that that's how the expression gift of the gab became very popular in this part of the world. Gift of the gab meaning he suddenly had great eloquence in how he was able to speak.
Now that we have both kissed the stone, we are going to be very fluent in our speech.
So the vlogs will get more wordy.
This is so much better. They have a railing in the side. Ow! This is an ancillary chamber mainly made for the lady of the house. It's located in such a place that it gives her complete privacy and also a window with a nice view.
But to get here, she would have to go through a staircase like this.
It kind of reminds me of the Rapunzel, where she would go out through a window like this and give out her hair to.
And this is one of the young family rooms. Family is quite noisy.
Look at that, they're right there.
It's really interesting how they have made this staircase. They've placed one rock on top of the other, and you see at this corner, it's not really chubby, it's a really thin line. They've placed it so precisely.
So this is how you're actually supposed to kiss the stone.
That's so scary. What if they just let loose of the legs? Patar will be here. Never expected to see this here.
It's a little waterfall. So while in the castle, we learned that there are a few exit trapdoors in the castle that actually lead to different parts. Like if the royal family or the earls who stayed here wanted to run away somewhere because they were being targeted or being attacked, they could go down those doors and then they would escape to safety. So this cave actually connects to that system, and we just learned that one of them goes into town to Cork. One of them goes further somewhere into the forest, and the third one supposedly goes all the way down to Kerry. Kerry is quite far from here and is home to one of the most beautiful peninsulas in the country, but it's right by the Atlantic coast, kind of similar to what we saw in the Cliffs of Moher in the last vlog. But this is the cave system that eventually leads there. I think we're pretty far into the cave now. It continues to go this way, and there's a little room here and what looks like a connection to the top, but it's completely wet. It seems to be flooded going this way further because of all the rain, so I don't think we can go any further. Finally made it back to the bus, and we now have what I think is a 3-hour journey, 2.5-3 hour journey back to Dublin. So today we left our cousins home, Naina and Pranav. We left them because they are actually traveling back to Bangalore. So this morning we packed up all of our stuff. That's why you see us with my bag is here, Shish's.
It's in the bus.
Yeah. So we're heading into Dublin, but tonight and tomorrow night we'll be spending with our couchsurfing host. So it's the last 2 days that we have in the country of Ireland, and then we head back to London to collect the rest of our baggage and then
go to another new place.
the bus is right here. Now we get on board, and I'm really curious to see if our guide has got more to share. He's so funny. He's got so much of information and he tells it in such a fun way.
I think I've gotten spoiled with these day trips. You know, it's so convenient and it's so nice to explore.
I'm so glad I didn't have to drive after all that stress, but it was refreshing. We haven't done this in a long time. So that's our guide, Jerry. Hi, Jerry.
Hello there.
Hello.
Sure did. We're now getting out of Cork and around Cork.
Yeah, it's the third day that we've got dropped off at the exact same spot. So we're now in Dublin city centre. Because it's a weekday, it's actually relatively much quieter. So we have to catch a little bus here, a local bus, and head down to our couchsurfing host house. It's about 2 kilometers away. And in the next vlog, hopefully we're able to explore the city a little bit before we head back out of the country. So hope you enjoyed exploring this part of Ireland with us.
And this way of exploring the country with us, which we have done for the first time in a long time.
We'll see you again in the next one. These steps are incredibly narrow. Like my shoe barely even goes in fully. Everything is so tightly spaced.
Ow, I don't think I even fit here. If you are chubby, you can't fit.
Nice castle.
Yes. Hi.
Absolutely creepy. Shishira, don't touch it. You'll be in trouble.